Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about these guys. Don't want to drop them, but I thought I'd show you them both at the same time. These are by Tokyo Marui, both of them. They are gas blowback shotguns, modeled after the Saiga 12, which is a real Russian AK-based shotgun. As you can see, it's kind of got that AK design. But these are two different models that actually Tokyo Marui make. There are other manufacturers that are coming out with them now. And when I was buying, I actually bought this one first, which is the 12K, the larger kind of actual based on a real Sega. This is the SBS, the short barreled shotgun, which really is kind of like a, we've invented this. It's like a Sega if you're going to kind of modernize it and do some different stuff, kind of like their AKX. But this one actually came out first, and then this one came out, and they are different for a few reasons that I'm going to run through. But if you are watching this right now, you may be thinking, I want one of these shotguns, and you should want one because they are amazing, and I would like to know which one that I should buy. So I'm going to run through each of them. These have actually been modified quite a bit. So if you're looking at them saying, hey, that's not what it looks like in the picture when I'm going to order it on the website, I'm afraid I have done quite a lot of modification to this. I'll try and explain some of that. But I think really the main, turn on my flashlight there, the main differences that are going to affect you buying them aren't necessarily due to the changes that I've made, and it is more to do with performance features on these different replicas. So I will run through quickly the first one because it's really, the base is on this 12K. This is actually the cheaper of the two shotguns, even though it's larger. Now, this is actually a shorter barrel than what it comes with that I've put on here. I've got a tracer unit on the end, but the shortened barrel that I have comes to about here. The stock one is a longer barrel, and it's definitely much more of your old school shotgun, where it is not going to be as good for your close quarters combat. And I would say that I think that this shotgun is very, very good for CQB and indoor, and it being that long, it can be a little bit unwieldy getting it around corners compared to the alternative. But it is absolutely amazing. So one thing I would say is with that barrel length being where it's at, it's going to be better for outdoors. The actual grouping of the BBs as they're coming out, and this fires 3 rounds at a time, those are going to be tighter. So you aren't going to have as much spread, which you may think, hey, that's a good thing, hey, that's a bad thing. And from what I've read when people have played outdoors with both of them, I've actually only really used this one indoors. But when they've kind of tested or used them both outside, the FPS, the power that this is putting out is higher, and the accuracy at range is going to be higher. So if you're sitting there thinking, hey, I would quite like to get a Sega shotgun, and I don't really play indoors, I just play outdoors, and I hadn't thought about a shotgun before, this thing is amazing because the grouping at range, it really doesn't have any hop up, and it really performs very well on 3.2s, but you're looking at like that kind of spread for 3 BBs, which is ideal. Like the performance on this, if you are going up against AEG players who are going to have, you know, a much higher rate of fire, you can kind of shoot in a general area, fire 3 or 4 actual trigger pulls, and you're really just kind of spreading an area. So it's going to be the same with both of these. But I would say that if you are looking at the two of them and you're thinking, I'm going to be outside, not inside, my recommendation would be this one, which is the 12K. Now, you are going to have to do quite a lot of stuff to it to kind of put sights, etc. on. With this, I've got a Midwest Industries Real Steel AK stock, and the only way that I could put that on there is because there is a Picatinny rail kind of attachment that I could put on and kind of trade out the folding polymer stock that was there. Folding polymer stock is great. It's a lot lighter than this. So, you know, if you're not bothered about the look of it and you'd actually just like it lighter and more functional, what comes on it is great. And the other thing is there's a ton of upgrade parts. So you could actually quite easily put this onto it just by buying that adapter. You're spending more money, etc., but it's not too hard to do. This is another thing I've done here, is another Real Steel Midwest Industries AK rail mount on the side. So it does have the mounting that you can put this onto, but if you are wanting to run a red dot on this and not just the standard iron sights, then you are going to need to buy that as well. So that might be another thing that you want to factor in. This also is an M-LOK rail that I've put on here. It comes just with a polymer rail, polymer handguard, sorry. And again, you can tape things to it, but you're not going to be able to have the same amount of customizability that you will do with this one. I've obviously got M-LOK slots all over this, which means that I've actually managed to find a mount to put my Olight pressure pad on here, which, as you can see here, I've got a laser and a flashlight combo. Try and show you that there. It's quite hard to see the laser. But it's a green laser flashlight combo, and I can quite easily put it on here. You can buy these rails. You can normally have to get them overseas and have to ship them. So I think this one was probably about $80 to put on there. You can run a tracer on here, which you can do with both of them. You can get tracers like this. Is the Quark C by Ace Tech. This is something that has kind of been created for larger barrels. It works perfectly on this barrel, but it should be able to do larger barrels or slightly smaller barrels than this as well. So it's your shotgun tracer. If you're using tracer BBs, you know, you're going to be lighting all of them. That is one thing I would say is I'll switch this tracer between the two, because this thing I'm going to be using indoor more just because of the size of it, and I don't really use tracer BBs outside. So you could quite easily just put a regular flash hider, something like that, onto it, which is what comes with them stock with the orange flash hider that legally needs to be on there. I've got a little attachment here for the charging handle. Here you have only semi-automatic and safe. So if I'm doing semi, you've got that. Trigger on these are basically the same. Another thing to mention is this. This is your standard kind of AK style pistol grip. It's thin. It's not the biggest, but I actually really like it. I don't know if you pick up AKs before and you like the grip, I don't think this is something that you need to change. You can buy adapters for this, again, for more money. But if you like the classic AK grip, and I do like it, then it's not something you're going to have to do. Like, it really, really isn't something that I would kind of end up putting in there. I've changed internals on this. I've put a bigger spring in it. I've put a heavier bolt in it. That's probably about it, I think, just thinking about it. But you can do the same things with this. It's going to take a slightly shorter weight on the end of the bolt. But, you know, you can change things. You're not going to be able to change the hop up. But this one is only semi and safe. So you've got those two functions here. Apparently there is a little hack where if you kind of position the fire selector in between two different areas, then it is going to full auto fire. But I haven't managed to get that to work. And it's definitely not something where, you know, it's going to work every time. I think you can buy kits for this where you can kind of put this to full auto. So you could take this and turn it full auto, but it's your longer variant. It's your longer variant. It looks more classic. It looks more real steel when you buy it. You have a lot of options to upgrade it. And the thing with this one as well is the price on it, I think, is really good. You're looking at $499, which is a lot of money. But for what this gives you, it's pretty great. It also comes with one of these, which is the standard Saiga 12 shotgun magazine. This has 45 round capacity. So you've only technically got 15 trigger pulls with this because you're firing 3 rounds at a time. So you may be thinking, hey, that's not a lot. And it isn't a huge amount. You can buy adapters for these, which basically you can hook up to an HPA tank, which I have. And it allows you just to put in regular, you know, M4 AR style mags. So you can get an EPM1 200 round mag, unlimited gas on your back. You know, it works really well. That's actually why I love this, the Unobtainium Gear M110 actual placard, because it means that I've got nothing on my back. I can run a backpack with an HPA in there, and then I can use these if I want to. I could switch these out for the EPM1's, for EPM1's AR version. I've got an extra little dangler with a pouch here, so I can run more of these. I would say actually though, I haven't been running at HPA as much as I thought. You can also get a drum mag for it, but when you're semi-auto, you know, you're going through 45 rounds in a 15 pull session, but it's not like you're firing it like an AR where you're kind of holding on the trigger or you're putting tons of BBs, because you're putting down 3 at a time. So it's kind of like having a 45 round mag, not a 15 round mag as it sounds. So that's what comes with that. Size of it, I'll show you. I've actually ended up putting, I'll actually use this sling. I've ended up putting QD release points on here. So these are Magpul QD release points, and there's one built into the stock because I like quick detach. But when you normally get it, it's going to have your standard AK just kind of sling mounts. So you're going to need to get a sling if you want to do that, which is kind of just got your standard sling attachments. So it's just hooks or whatever you like in that way. I'm going to make sure I get this on right. I like having my sling attachments very close to the body of my replicas. I did actually buy a cheaper version of the stock, and that actually ended up breaking just because of the weight of what I've done with this and how that is now. Let me just bring this in. So I haven't actually got this set up super tight, but I'll put this in here and show you guys what this looks like. But it means that I can run it like this. I can release my sling there as I need to. It's not huge, but it is going to be your large, assault rifle, M16 kind of, not M16 maybe, but like a long 14-inch barrel, maybe not 14-inch. I mean, that's a 10-inch, I think, barrel on the end here, but you've also got this body here, which is kind of coming out from where it is. So it's not small. It's going to be bigger than your Mark 18, and it is a shotgun, especially with that barrel on the end. So, sorry, I just paused for you guys for a second. So that's what it's going to look like. I absolutely love this thing. So if you're thinking about getting either one and you're just thinking, right, I need to get one, you'll be happy with either one that you get. So that, guys, is the 12K. This is a pretty solid stock. Other thing is, if you are looking at folding it, it is going to be a situation that if you've got this rail on the side, it's not necessarily going to fold flat. Weirdly, because I've got this Midwest Industries one and the Midwest Industries Riser, this actually folds flat. When you have the stock one, it's not going to do that. It's not going to go into position like that one does. So just bear that in mind as well, is you may have to get rid of the folding functionality if you are going to put that sight rail kind of thing on it. So that's the 12K. Absolutely love it. $499, which moves us on to this. Now, this is, again, something that I've changed a lot. I would say if you're looking at it online, it doesn't look like this. And I think that it actually looks very ugly. The stock one that it comes with, it has your standard kind of like A2 M4 style stock on here. It has your regular M4, I think A2 as well, style pistol grip, which I think looks ugly. It kind of looks like this kind of weird mix between an AR and an AK, and it's kind of very short and stubby. So I didn't like it at all. So what I ended up doing is I changed out the hand grip. Again, you can kind of get this little AR hand grip adapter. This again is Magpul. I buy pretty much everything Magpul in terms of furniture on my stuff. I ended up putting that on there because I just think it looks a lot better. I also bought a Magpul stock, which is adjustable, but I would say, and I've put a bit of Velcro in the back so I don't actually get that much movement. I would say I actually always use this fully compressed, so you don't really need an adjustable stock depending on how big you are. It does, though, which is quite nice, come with this as stock. So unlike the K, it does have this folding buffer tube, which I do think can be quite useful with a gun like this. I mean, I've got my VFC or APFG Spear LT, and it's an 11-inch AR. I don't think I'll ever really use it in the format of having it, firing it in that way. It's great to be able to like put it into a bag or store it. This, you can put it into a bag and store it because it ends up being very, very short. But it also means that I could actually hip fire this. It's a shotgun, so I do think that's quite good. And because it goes onto this side, it is kind of blocking your fire selector slightly. But I think that's better than it getting in any way on the other side. But another thing that you do get is this is actually an aftermarket top cover that I've put on here. So you don't get this rail which comes stock. You can easily put it on there though. You can actually do the same with this one because the body's very similar. But it does come with a rail which is kind of above here on a little rail kind of handguard top. I've removed that, and what is quite nice is you can remove certain pieces without necessarily having to keep everything on there. These little slots here, you can see the screws. You can have Picatinny rails there. So as opposed to this, where it's coming very old school and you're going to have to buy a lot of parts to do it, with this one, you are going to be able to put attachments on it straight away. So, you know, that might be something you think about and you think, you know, I'd prefer to have that adaptability. But as I said, I think it's very ugly. This is kind of the button where that folds. I don't think it is a very good looking replica. I think it looks pretty good now. I don't know if you guys agree, but I do think that this now looks pretty sexy. And this, as I said, the real advantage I think of this, guys, is the length of it. As you can see, when I've got it there, it literally is this little compact shotgun. So if I'm coming around corners indoors or in CQB, it is so easy to use. And this really scares people. Both of them do. And I don't know what it is because it's not firing that hot. This is not firing as powerful as this, but they're still both under field limits easily. It's something about people getting hit with 3 BBs at one time, I think, if you're hitting them with all 3. It's almost this shock of like, whoa, what was that? It's kind of like, I don't know if you know, but when you get shot with a very high RPS, like speed soft gun, you know, where it's like a 25 RPS and you're getting 3 or 4 into you at one time. It's that same thing, but it's also loud and it clacks. Like, I don't know if I've got this on. No, I've not got this on dry fire. So I'm going to put it on this mag. Here we go. If I put this mag on dry fire, you'll get an idea. Like, it really is a loud piece of kit. So that is something that really scares people. Now, I think the big difference, other than the barrel length, and this is a stock barrel, I have not changed this barrel, so that's where it's going to come in at. The big difference is that this can fire full auto. And so you have kind of got your regular AK where you've got 2 stock points. You've got your full auto and then semi. Full auto is great, but I would say when you've got a 45 round mag or the one this comes with, which is a 90 round mag, you're not really getting a huge amount out of the full auto. You know, you're going to get 30 trigger pulls with this or 15 with this. And when that's going full auto, the rate of fire is not crazy, but I very rarely have actually used either guns or needed to think I would use either gun in full auto. So I'll give you an idea of what that is like, because obviously it is kind of like a cool thing to have. This is the full auto rate of fire. Oh, need to put this mag on dry fire as well. Was that on dry fire? So each of these mags, what's quite cool is they have these little switches on the top, so you can put it into dry fire mode. It's a bit different from the AKX and AKM. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, if someone came around a corner with that firing at me, I would be really scared. So that probably is about it. I've put this on here. Another annoying thing is that there are parts that work for both upgrade-wise. I have not been able to find a handguard, which I would quite like to have something like this, which is more M-LOK. These do not take M-LOK attachments. I have tried, and they look like they're M-LOK slots, but this is polymer, and it's not fitting in there. So if you want to attach things and you don't want to have the Picatinny attachments on there, which I think make it very bulky, I like how compact this thing is, and so I want to keep this front end really light. So I can't find an M-LOK, and I'm sure someone will come out with it eventually. I think you can go to 3D printing websites, buy the mapping for it, and actually 3D print it yourself. But I would love someone to build like an aluminium or something very lightweight with Picatinny, with M-LOK rails on them. So if you know of any that do that, please do let me know. I'll show you what this looks like in comparison, and actually I'll do a dry fire of the 12K just so you guys have that as well. That's what I want here. Again, this does not have QD mounts on it, so I ended up getting a Magpul which has a built-in, Magpul stock which has a built-in, and I got a little Picatinny rail attachment going on this top cover. So that's kind of what it's going to look like there, size-wise. Definitely a lot smaller. I would tighten this up a lot. I haven't got this tightened up. I actually had this for a different replica at the time, so I'll tighten that up, but I would probably have it sit here. I would have this release, so I would just bang that out, and then I've got that. I've got the ability to move it, to go around. If it's got this thing in it, I think it looks kind of ridiculous, and I've only got one of these for a reason. For the other reason, these are $78, and these ones are $50. Now, you're getting more than double the capacity, but this sitting in my mag pouch here, I'm going to put this in, is a lot more annoying. Like, that's getting in the way of me swinging around, whereas this thing is not nearly the same. Like, it's sitting in a position where it's really tucked in. I really want that lightweight, as I said, and I don't know, it's definitely a very compact little gun. So if I'm looking at something and I'm thinking, you know what, my field is going to allow full auto of this, and I really want to do that, you may just say, look, I want the SBS. But again, both of them, I think, if you really want to customize them and make them different, they work great out the box. But if you spend some money on them, there is the option to do that. Hold on, there we go. I'm going to pause myself again so you guys can't see me. There we go, I'm back. I hope that wasn't too bad. There are a lot of options you can put onto it, but you are going to have to spend money if you want to make it look different. And some people will like the SBS, like stock. I think this looks so much better, and I probably would not be using it if I couldn't do that or change it in some way. Okay, I'll show you what this guy sounds like, the 12K. It's going to be very similar. I don't know how it comes across on camera. Again, I'm not necessarily going to run this like this. Not in the same way. I mean, I could quite easily, but it's not going to be quite the same. Here's the action on this one. So you can fire it quickly. You know, like the full auto on that one is probably quicker and easier just to hold it down. But if I'm fighting against someone and I'm coming around a corner or putting suppressive fire on someone, I can just go, and that's just putting 6 BBs straight there. You know, that's a high rate of fire in terms of how many BBs are in the air. This one is $100 more expensive. Now that was weird to me because obviously you have full auto, but it's $100 more for what seems like a lot less material for the actual money. One other thing to mention, so it has a standard, it's actually like a skeletonized, I'll try and show you here. It's like a, oh, wrong one, that's why. It has like a skeletonized buffer tube, so you can put really any AR style stock onto there. You can also get the same for this as an attachment, but it does come with that. So it is very easy just to pop off the stock that's on there, which I think again looks horrible, and then just be able to stick another stock on there, kind of whatever you like. It's going to be that standard AR style mil spec. So you could put real steel ones on like this, or you could buy a cheaper Airsoft one. This is $100 more at $599. So I think that's a lot more. These cost a lot more. Where are they? The mags. But you could run these. You could run either one on these. I don't think these would last very long if you're doing full auto. Now, when it comes down to it, guys, which one would I get if I only could get one? And it would be this one. I would take the 12K, unless you're playing indoors or unless that's all I was doing. The 12K I can use indoors. I can do a lot more in terms of attachments and stuff to it. I just like the look of it and the aesthetic a lot more. And I really like this AK style grip. So for me, it kind of keeps it in that AK family. And then also I can kind of, touch it up and kind of update it. This really isn't in the AK family, but it is a very, very good replica. And if I was playing indoors and I wanted to use full auto, this is the one to go for. But for me, guys, it's 12K. I hope, again, this has been useful to you and given some value to anyone who's watching it. If you could let me know if it does, that would be great in the comments. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would also be great. And if you have any other ideas or you have specific questions about these replicas that you'd like me to make an individual video on, I'm more than happy to do that. So just let me know in the comments again down below. All right, guys, have a great day, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.